Okay, as if you follow our channel at all, you'll know that I've been doing quite a few roofs or extensions with aluminum. So when I first started thinking about this whole aluminum concept, it really started when we purchased a house that had 10 hips and valleys in it. So the roof went like this quite a bit. And I knew I wanted to do them with something like aluminum that was strong and would hold up, because I was taught that the weakest points in the roof are those connecting areas and where vents come out and stuff like that. So they're not the flat areas. The flat areas, the consistent areas are not the weak point of a roof. It's these places where a transition. So with 10, and it's not even that big of a house. So if I do all those areas with aluminum, then what came to mind is, why don't I just do the whole thing with aluminum? So that's what really got me on that thought process. And then I started researching, okay, what aluminum would I use? There's all these different alloys, aluminum alloys, where it's like 99% aluminum, but there's some silicone in it. There's some magnesium in it. They dope it to give it different properties. So, and I didn't research this, but originally when aluminum came out, I'm sure the technology was in its infant, just starting out, and they didn't have all these doping concentrations examined and explored, and now they do. They have, you can get like 30 different alloys, aluminum alloys, and they all have numbers. 304, I think, is one of the tough ones. So, but I can't remember the numbers. I think something like that. So it gives them different properties. For example, this one has a lot of flex to it, but it tends to bounce back. It has a lot of bounce. It seems to be more rigid. This one, maybe a little softer. And interesting, this is probably the oldest one here. This came off a old barn that probably was on for 50, 60, 70 years. Then we have the other technology differences. We have PVC coated. So they're taking aluminum alloys, different alloys, and then to even enhance its ability to withstand weather, they add different coatings. For example, PVC, acrylic, and that's on top of the painting. So they first paint them, and then they're coating them with that stuff. So with all that said, I was like, then the thought comes to mind, what do I use? Well, the other big factor is price. So certain types of aluminum coil are made in high volume. And those manufacturers, because of that high volume, tend to drive the price down. But in recent years, especially during COVID and after COVID, the prices have gone up dramatically. So that's another factor. So here's some different ones that I've used. This is a PVC coated that has a texture to it, kind of a wood grain to it. I don't know if you can see that. I'll just slant it a little bit. So then here's the thickness. So this is considered a 0.021 thickness. And probably some of it is that PVC. This one's also PVC coated, but it's a lighter coating, I think. You can see a slight texture to it, but it's not very apparent. This one's considered a 0.019, so just 0.002 thinner than this one. The other differences is, so this one's PVC coated on one side and white paint on the other side. This one has PVC coated with probably a thinner coat of painting. So that's another variable. This, as I mentioned, came off a barn roof. And one of the big problems with aluminum roofing, this is what I was told when I was young, by the person I was working for, it would be an ideal roof if it didn't move so much. And because of all the movement, the expansion and contraction, they could not, it got holes where the nails were. So that was in the days of nails. Nowadays, we have the screws with the rubber and then the metal cap that protects it. So it's a different story nowadays. I feel that's the big change. So another example is this aluminum that was taken off of a ceiling on a porch. I think it was actually, yeah, like that. And it still leaked up above, so we have all this dirt, but it's a heavier, but it seems to be a little bit more rigid. If you score it with a utility knife, you can snap it a little bit easier. Here's another one that's maybe a little thinner than this one, and that's a drip edge one. So aluminum is used in many different situations, and they have a different feel. Now my most recent find is this right here. So this is a .024. So this is thicker than these other ones. And the other cool thing about this one is it's painted to a final finish on both sides. You can use it with this almond color, or you can use it as what they call a classic white color. So it's a little thicker. Now the only downside is it does not have PVC coating on it. Probably not acrylic, but I don't know that for sure. It could have that, but it is smooth. So the difference is how hard is it going to be to bend? Which one will hold up the longest? I don't know. I think they're all going to hold up for a long time. I would like to think that this thicker one is going to do even better. But, you know, I don't know that. I have no evidence of that. So anyways, just a different look at aluminum alloys, different coatings, different thicknesses, and they're all probably in the, well, most of them are in the aluminum coil range. And most of the time, the stuff I buy is 2 feet wide and 50 feet long, one coil. Now you can buy them other sizes, but then you're getting into a specialty order situation, and then it's going to cost a lot more. Which, you know, if you follow our channel at all, we work on a tight budget. So there you go, aluminum alloy, coil, and top coatings, and things to think about.